Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is it's really laser focused on something that I think is deeply personal for anyone trying to get fluent in English.
Absolutely.
You've shared just a fantastic stack of resources with us, transcripts, lectures, guides, and they all seem to point toward the same, well, this monumental roadblock.
Right. It's the fear.
It's the crippling, paralyzing fear of actually speaking the language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because we all know people, or maybe we are those people, who know the grammar, they know the vocabulary.
They've done the work.
They've done the work, but then the moment comes to open your mouth and just anxiety hits.
Right. And your mind just goes blank.
Exactly. So our goal for this deep dive is to synthesize everything, the powerful psychological strategies and the real tactical hands-on techniques that are in these sources.
And build a toolkit.
We are building a structured, low-stress, daily practice toolkit, one that's designed to move you past that internal struggle and, straight into consistent, confident action.
And that anxiety you mentioned, that feeling of your stomach dropping when you have to speak.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear on this. It's not a failure of intelligence. It's not because you're bad at languages. It's a failure of preparation strategy.
A failure of strategy. I like that framing.
The core message across every single piece of material you sent is, well, it's profound.
Right.
And it really does require a fundamental shift in how you think.
Which is?
Don't wait to be perfect. Because perfection is the great paralyzer. It just stops you dead in your tracks.
So today, we're not just giving vague advice.
No, absolutely not. Today, we are extracting a clear roadmap. We are moving beyond just saying practice more to detailing the exact steps.
Okay.
Steps built on consistency, on smart integration, on small efforts that will transform English from this, academic subject you study.
Like a homework assignment.
Exactly. Into a functional tool you actually use. The goal is confident application, making sure you walk away with immediate, actionable steps you can take today.
And the sources even introduce this persona, a character named Leo.
Right, Leo.
And he just perfectly encapsulates this whole struggle. Leo tries to practice, but he feels shy. And he worries about three very specific things that I think so many people can relate to. First, his grammar isn't perfect. Second, his pronunciation might be wrong. And third, just the fear of saying something completely nonsensical or even offensive. It just stops him cold.
And that anxiety, as all the sources illustrate so clearly, is really the engine of stagnation.
The engine of stagnation. Wow.
It is. It's a closed loop, you see. The fear stops you from practicing. Then the lack of practice reinforces that feeling of inadequacy.
Which then makes you more afraid.
And that feeling generates even more fear. It's a vicious cycle. We have to break that cycle.
And the way to break it is through these daily practices we're about to lay out.
Exactly. Techniques like shadowing or the silent internal monologue we'll get into, these things shift your focus from analysis to action, and that changes everything.
Okay, let's start right there then. With that internal roadblock that Leo, and really so many of us run into.
The mindset piece.
Yes. The transcript of Leo's conversation, it shows the exact moment that fluency just derails. He says, and this is key, he thinks too much before he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just stops. He's analyzing, he's checking his grammar, he's translating in his head, and by the time the perfect sentence is ready...
The moment's gone.
Yeah.
The conversation has moved on.
The moment has passed completely.
And that internal analysis, that thinking too much, that is the direct result of chasing perfection.
Right.
The experts in these materials, they provide this immediate and a really powerful psychological countermeasure. And it's that practice isn't the reward for being confident.
Oh, that's good.
Practice creates confidence. Small mistakes, visible mistakes, they are not a problem. In fact, they are the necessary friction that generates learning.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second, because this is what that anxious inner voice sounds like, right?
Go for it.
If I'm making a bunch of grammar mistakes when I speak, aren't I just, solidifying bad habits? Why should I prioritize speaking quickly over speaking correctly?
That is the critical question, and it's a fair one.
Mm-hmm.
The sources address this head on.
Okay.
If you wait until your internal rulebook is perfect, you will never speak. Because language isn't a closed system. It's alive. It's constantly moving.
It's not math.
It's not math at all. The human brain is actually wired for efficiency, and fluency demands speed. When you focus too much on grammar, you force your brain into this really slow, multi-step process.
The one Leo was stuck in.
Exactly. You think the idea in your native language, then you try to translate it word for word, then you check the verb tense, you worry about the preposition.
And then you try to say it.
And then you try to say it. And that's why the sentence comes out so slowly, so haltingly, or, not at all.
So this brings us to a major insight then.
The first major takeaway, really. Clear communication matters far, far more than perfect grammar.
As long as people get what you're trying to say.
If people understand your intention, you have succeeded. Period. The pursuit of grammatical perfection, especially in those early and middle stages, it just leads to total paralysis.
So we have to override that internal grammar checker.
You have to. Small, imperfect attempts bypass that analytical filter. They prioritize the actual motor skill of speaking, and that leads to the stepwise progress that perfectionism completely blocks.
So you're training your brain to go straight from a thought to an English sound.
Yes, without that long, slow detour through translation.
I find it so interesting how the sources apply this "don't wait to be perfect" idea so universally. They use these analogies that go way beyond language learning, and they really stick with you.
The analogies are fantastic because they make the concept so concrete.
Take the example of starting a new job. The sources point out that, nobody expects you to have mastered the entire company system, the culture, every single procedure on day one.
Of course not. You'd be a robot if you did.
Right. You learn by doing. You learn by making small procedural mistakes, by asking questions, by just engaging with the flow of the work. If you insisted on memorizing every chapter of the employee handbook before you dared to answer the phone or send an email, you would never contribute anything.
You'd be useless for weeks.
Exactly. The risk of making a small mistake it's the price of admission to getting real experience.
And the gym comparison is maybe even more powerful. It's so visceral.
Yeah, that one really landed with me.
If you wait until you feel strong before you start lifting weights, you'll never go to the gym.
You'll never start.
You become stronger because you go, because you subject your muscles to stress and friction. The muscles break down a little, they rebuild stronger, and it's that iterative, consistent stress that creates strength.
So we have to view our speaking ability, our mouth, our tongue, as a muscle.
Precisely. Our articulation, our ability to form sentences quickly, that is a muscle. And if you wait until that muscle is perfectly trained before you use it, you're effectively letting it atrophy.
It just gets weaker from disuse.
Exactly. Learning any new skill, cooking, driving, even something like learning a new piece of software on a computer, it all follows the exact same path.
Right. It's awkward at first.
It's awkward. There's initial discomfort, there are mistakes, but that's followed by gradual, step-by-step competency that's built through constant flawed engagement.
This realization just changes the entire framework, doesn't it?
It does. We have to focus on action, not on some mythical moment of inherent perfection. Mistakes just mean you're trying, and trying is progress.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset shift, which is huge. Action over perfection. Now let's move into the actual mechanics.
The how-to.
Yes. Here's where it gets really tactical and really interesting. The sources mention one specific technique, and it comes up again and again across all the platforms. They present it as the bridge between silent understanding and fluent speaking.
And that technique is shadowing.
Shadowing. Let's define that.
Shadowing is one of those language learning hacks that, it almost seems too simple to be revolutionary, but it is incredibly potent.
So what is it exactly?
We need to go beyond just the simple definition here. It's listening to a spoken source, an audiobook, a podcast, a native speaker talking, and immediately trying to reproduce exactly what they're saying as simultaneously as you possibly can.
Okay, so like an echo. Let's dig into the actual mechanism of that echo concept, because the instructions are really specific.
They are.
You don't stop. You
Wow.
don't translate. You don't look up a word in the dictionary. Why is it so critical to copy the sound, the rhythm, the speed, the tone, even if you don't fully get the meaning at first?
Because in its earliest stages, shadowing is primarily a physical exercise, not a cognitive one.
A physical exercise.
Think of it as oral gymnastics. English sounds, the phones, the prosody, that's the stress and rhythm of the language. They are physically produced in a different way than in your native language.
Right. Your mouth has to make different shapes.
Your mouth, your jaw, your tongue, your throat muscles, they all need very specific training to move quickly and accurately for English articulation.
And if you're trying to translate and speak at the same time,
You're engaging the cognitive load center of your brain, which slows everything down. Shadowing completely bypasses this.
I
By sourcing that immediate mimicry, you're just training the raw motor skills for articulation. And you're training your auditory system to recognize and reproduce those native speech patterns instantly.
So the brain and the mouth start working together in English without the native language getting in the way.
Exactly. It's like a musician practicing scales.
Right.
They aren't worried about the emotional meaning of the music at that point. They're just training their fingers to move correctly and quickly.
That makes perfect sense. But for a listener who is already nervous about speaking, wouldn't shadowing just be frustrating? Wouldn't it highlight how fast and complex native speech actually is?
Oh, absolutely. There is an initial frustration. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
But the sources offer a key strategy to mitigate that.
And what's that?
Start with material that is deliberately a little bit below your comprehension level and use very short segments.
So don't start with a high-speed political debate.
Please don't. You'll just get discouraged. Start with a short children's story or a simple dialogue transcript that you can actually read along with at the same time.
Okay.
Furthermore, the experts recommend 2 different modes of shadowing, which is really interesting.
2 modes.
Yeah. The first is simultaneous shadowing. That's trying to speak right alongside the speaker, basically copying them the very moment the sound enters your ear. This is great for high-speed training and getting the rhythm down.
The second one.
The second is called echo shadowing, or lagging. This is where you repeat the phrase just a few milliseconds after the speaker has finished it.
What's the benefit of that delay?
It allows you to process a slightly larger chunk of sound, and it lets you focus more intensely on the intonation contour. That's the rising and falling pitch of the voice.
So by using both of these methods, you get a more complete training.
You get really comprehensive benefits, and the direct result, which is cited across all the sources, is that you begin to speak faster, more clearly, and with a much more natural cadence and confidence.
Your tongue literally gets used to making the sounds.
Your tongue genuinely gets used to the specific movements required for specific English sounds, like the T's, or the subtle differences between our vowel sounds, which are often just totally lacking in formal study. It is a small habit with truly revolutionary results for your mechanical fluency.
Okay, so that connects directly to a related practice, and an equally important one, reading aloud.
Yes.
The sources make a really clear distinction here that I think is crucial for you, the listener. Reading silently is good. It's great for passive comprehension, for building vocabulary.
But reading aloud is better.
But reading aloud is better because it's the practical physical application of sound instruction.
It is the ultimate workout for what we're calling the speaking muscles. The challenge of reading aloud forces your eyes to process text, your brain to translate that text into motor commands for speech, and your mouth to articulate the sound all in perfect synchronization.
And if you stop, the whole flow just breaks down immediately.
It does. And the practical steps for doing this effectively involve a really nice 3-step progression.
Okay, let's hear it.
First, you choose a simple text, and you read it slowly and clearly. You're only focusing on pronunciation, making sure you don't stumble over a word.
Step 1, accuracy.
Exactly. Second, you read it again, but this time you push the speed just a little bit. You focus on linking words together naturally, the way people actually speak.
Step 2.
Flow.
Mm-hmm.
And third, and this is the most important part, you read it with expression. You imagine you're an actor performing a dialogue.
Ah, so you're not just reading words on a page?
No. You use different voices, you emphasize different words, you inject emotion. This third step is what builds not just fluency and clarity, but crucially, the confidence to use English dynamically, not just, robotically.
So, to recap, we've established the mindset, action over perfection. We've established the technical foundation, shadowing and physical articulation training. Now let's put it all together. Let's synthesize the daily structure that makes all of this sustainable without needing hours and hours of study time.
This next section is really the practical core of this entire deep dive, because the experts all recognize that the biggest barrier for a motivated learner isn't their capacity to learn.
It's time.
It's consistency and time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to study for hours a day. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country right away. What you need are small, smart steps.
Low-friction activities.
Exactly. Low-friction activities that fit seamlessly into a busy modern life.
And the core philosophy here seems to be integration. We have to shift English from being this intimidating, separate task, that 30-minute chore you do on a Monday night, and turn it into something that becomes like a morning coffee or like using your favorite app. It's just part of the day.
That's it. If we can leverage the routines you already have, we can achieve automatic consistency. And that is the secret ingredient for long-term fluency.
So you're talking about habit stacking.
Exactly right. That's the secret. We take a habit you already have, like waiting for the bus, making coffee, scrolling on your phone, and we attach a tiny little English task to it.
Right.
This approach ensures that strong habits create confident speakers, because the practice is literally built into the fabric of your daily life. So let's look at the 7 specific, easy-to-implement tips that were highlighted across all the source material.
Okay, let's start with the foundational elements. Priming the brain through sound and internal dialogue. What's number 1?
The first one, and the experts call this the single most important step if better speaking is your goal, is to listen to English every day.
Make it your background music.
Exactly. Listening isn't just about learning new words. It's about training your ear to recognize the speed and the rhythm of real speech.
Because if you can't understand the sounds, you can't reproduce them accurately.
Precisely.
But what's the practical application? I mean, we're all busy. Where does this listening actually happen?
The sources suggest you integrate English as your background music during activities that don't require a high cognitive load.
So things you do on autopilot.
The genius of it is its simplicity. You listen while you walk, while you clean, while you cook, while you exercise, or on your commute.
Yeah.
And crucially, the sources differentiate between 2 types of listening goals.
Okay.
There's active listening. That's maybe 10% of your time. You sit down, you focus intensely, maybe you're reviewing a transcript, and your goal is 80 to 90% comprehension. That's study.
Right.
Then there's passive listening. That's 90% of your time. That's just having the sound on a podcast, music, a news report for learners. Here, you don't need to understand everything.
It's just exposure.
Just exposure.
Hey.
Even if you only register 30% of the words, the sounds, the cadence, the intonation patterns, they're all entering your auditory system and training your ear.
And the quantity goal is refreshingly low pressure. It's just 10 to 15 minutes a day of that focused effort.
Plus as much background noise as you can manage. It's the consistent exposure that matters, not the amount you do in one sitting.
Okay, so that's listening. What's the second habit?
The second one is to think in English one thought at a time. This is truly the ultimate fluency hack.
Why is it so powerful?
Because it directly attacks the problem that Leo had, that translation delay. Your brain needs to learn to bypass your native language and connect a concept directly to English.
But how does a learner even begin this? I mean, you can't just suddenly start analyzing quantum physics in English in your head.
No, you'd get overwhelmed. The sources recommend starting incredibly small.
Oh, small?
Start with short, simple personal observations. Use a technique called labeling. When you wake up, just label your internal state. It's morning, I'm still sleepy, I need coffee.
So just narrating your immediate reality.
That's all it is. When you walk outside, describe your environment. The sky is blue. The air is cold. I see a dog.
Yeah.
During work.
I'm working. I'm tired. I want to go home.
This practice trains the brain to use English for its own internal logistics, its own emotional processing.
It stops that immediate reflexive translation. You're creating a daily internal monologue, a conversation with yourself that has zero pressure and zero audience.
And the progression is to then start saying those thoughts out loud.
Exactly. Once you can reliably think a simple thought internally, try whispering it quietly to yourself. This reinforces the sound production before you ever have to engage with another person. It's vital daily practice with the safest partner possible, yourself.
Okay, so these next ones leverage our addiction to technology.
They do. We look at our phones constantly, so why not turn that high-frequency habit into a learning tool?
And habit number 3 is?
Change your phone settings to English.
This one is a prime example of high-frequency, low-friction learning. I mean, people look at their phones, 50 to 100 times a day? Maybe more. Easily more. By changing the phone's language, you force yourself into constant passive immersion with highly functional technical vocabulary.
What are the specific, tangible results here? It seems almost too easy to be effective.
The vocabulary you learn is invaluable because it is inherently functional. Words like settings, airplane mode, brightness, update available, delete, download, confirm, cancel.
Things you see and use every single day.
Hundreds of times a day in various contexts. They stop being academic words you have to memorize, and they become embedded functions. You're learning operational vocabulary without ever opening a dictionary or a flashcard app.
It's just natural, constant exposure that makes those words second nature.
Right. And you learn the English syntax used in digital interfaces immediately. It's a very modern, very practical solution to the consistency problem.
Okay, what's number 4?
Number 4 is to practice writing a short diary.
And this habit is like the complete opposite of the fear of writing a long essay. The instructions are delightfully specific and low stakes.
Write 3 short sentences about your day, 5 minutes every night. That's it.
It sounds simple, but what grammatical structure is the learner really solidifying with this exercise?
It's phenomenal practice for building simple, foundational sentence structure. Specifically, it involves the past tense and the use of coordinating conjunctions like and, but, so, because.
Because you're naturally narrating things that have already happened.
Exactly. For example, I was tired, so I drank coffee. Or, it rained this morning, but I still went for a walk.
And because the content is grounded in your own immediate personal experience, it must help with memory.
Dramatically. You can use a small notebook, a note-taking app on your phone, or, and I love this idea, you can elevate the practice by sending these short daily updates as a quick text to a friend who is also learning.
Oh, that adds accountability.
It adds accountability and a real-world communication context instantly. This simple exercise moves grammar from the abstract rulebook into the realm of your own lived experience.
I love that. Okay, what's the 5th habit?
The 5th tip is to record a 1-minute voice message.
This is a fantastic strategy for building self-awareness and confidence.
Good.
But I have to raise the question that came up in one of the critiques.
I think I know where you're going with this.
If I'm already nervous about speaking, wouldn't recording my voice and listening back just make me even more anxious when I hear my own mistakes? How do the sources suggest we manage that immediate negative reaction?
That anxiety is a very valid hurdle, and the experts absolutely acknowledge it. The crucial insight here is the context. No one else has to hear it.
Right. It's for you and you alone.
This exercise is for self-diagnosis, not for public performance. You are not recording a perfect broadcast. You're just taking a snapshot of your current fluency.
So you're not listening as a critic, but as a coach.
You're acting as your own impartial coach. And you're not just listening for mistakes. You're listening for 3 key things.
Okay.
1, fluency and pauses. Where did you stop? Did you pause because you didn't know a word or because you were trying to translate? Identifying that helps you target the root problem. 2, intonation and rhythm. Does your English sound flat or robotic? If it does, you know you need to do more shadowing practice.
And the 3rd.
And 3, specific errors. You will start to notice your own recurring mistakes, maybe a specific verb conjugation you always get wrong or a preposition you misuse. This makes your next study session highly targeted and efficient.
So instead of being a critic, the recording is a mirror. It turns that abstract fear into concrete, actionable feedback.
Precisely. It allows you to practice the full articulation process from thought to sound in a totally low-stakes environment and then accurately identify areas for improvement.
Brilliant. Okay, that brings us to the last couple of tips, which are about interaction.
Right. Finally, we turn to interaction. Because true fluency requires using the language with other people. But we need low-stakes environments to start.
And number 6 is join an English-speaking group online.
Yes. Many learners feel so isolated. They're waiting for a formal class or a specific meeting time, but the sources stress that modern technology completely eliminates this barrier.
You can find other learners immediately.
And that makes English feel alive. It becomes a communication tool, not just a school subject. Platforms like WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, or language exchange apps like Tandem offer dynamic, asynchronous practice.
Asynchronous being the key word there.
It's key. It means you don't have the intense real-time pressure of a face-to-face conversation.
You have time to think and compose your message.
Exactly. You can practice writing short messages, sending voice notes about your day, or asking and answering simple questions about culture or daily routines. Even if you're shy and you only read what others are writing.
Lurking, as they say.
Lurking, as it were. That immersion in functional real-time English is still helping your brain process rapid communication and common responses. It shifts the language from the textbook page into a functional social context.
Okay, and the final tip, number 7.
Watch short videos and repeat.
This one leverages modern content consumption. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts.
These platforms are just full of short, simple English videos, usually about fun topics like travel, food, or funny clips content you genuinely enjoy.
So it's micro-shadowing.
It's exactly that. The method is simple, but so effective. You choose content you like, you watch the same 20-second video 2 or 3 times for comprehension and rhythm, then you pause and repeat the sentences.
And because the content is short and visual, it's highly memorable.
It's the fastest way to learn real spoken English. The modern idioms, The slang, the shortened contractions, and the high-speed conversational fillers that formal instruction often just completely overlooks. You're actively copying the tone and the speed of native conversation, integrating that shadowing practice with genuine, engaging content.
And those 7 steps, taken consistently and integrated into your daily flow,
are the complete blueprint for confident fluency provided by the experts.
Okay, we've established the psychological framework, the technical skills, and that brilliant daily toolkit. Now let's go back to some of the key vocabularies highlighted in the sources.
Right.
But instead of just defining the words, let's talk about their philosophical application within this whole journey to fluency.
I agree. For an audience that follows this topic, dictionary definitions are redundant. We need to discuss how these concepts are used to maintain your momentum.
Let's start with the word confident.
Okay. In the context of fluency, confidence is defined not as the absence of fear, but as the willingness to speak despite the fear.
That's a huge distinction.
It is. The example provided, I feel confident when I speak English with my friends, doesn't mean your grammar is perfect. It just means you have the ability to communicate without censoring yourself.
So the source uses this to establish a feedback loop.
A positive feedback loop. Every time you successfully communicate, even imperfectly, it's like you deposit a little bit more confidence into your internal fluency bank.
I like that. Okay, next word, matter.
The sentence they use, clear communication matters more than perfect grammar, is really the foundational truth of everything we talked about in the first section.
It's not just a definition, it's a prioritization.
It is. The word matter gives functional weight to the idea. It ensures the learner prioritizes the function of language, which is being understood, over the fear of the form, which is grammar mistakes. It gives you permission to fail small.
And the last one from this list, progress.
Progress, which means moving forward or getting better little by little. This word is essential because it fights against the tendency to look for some sudden breakthrough moment.
The idea that one day you'll just wake up fluent.
Which never happens. The sources use the concept of progress to teach patience and self-celebration. You don't jump from the bottom of the mountain to the top. You just make small movements every single day.
Progress is what you track when you listen back to that 1-minute voice recording after a month.
And you realize your pauses are shorter, or you used a new phrase without thinking about it. It shifts your focus from the insurmountable mountain peak to just the next successful step on the path in front of you.
Okay, now let's pivot to a really practical application of this. It's the fantastic breakfast dialogue anecdote in one of the sources.
Ah, yes, the shopping list.
It demonstrates English being used so naturally in a common real-world situation.
This anecdote starts with simple daily planning, but immediately introduces a problem, a point of friction. And the key phrase is, run out of.
Which is indispensable for daily life.
Totally. And the scenario shows it being used under a bit of pressure. The dialogue is something like, oh no, babe, we've run out of milk. That phrase immediately signals a problem that needs a solution right now.
And then the conversation just cascades from there, doesn't it? It illustrates how you build essential coordination skills in English.
Right, because it's not just the milk. Oh, we've also run out of bread, which means the immediate consequence is no toast and no milk this morning.
So the necessity of solving that immediate logistical problem, getting to the supermarket, forces this practical, high-stakes communication.
And then the creation of the shopping list is the next stage of practical vocabulary building. They quickly negotiate what they need. Milk, bread, eggs, fruits, pasta, rice, vegetables, coffee.
And snacks. Can't forget the snacks.
And snacks. Notice how this language is so functional and immediate. It's far more useful for daily life than, complex academic terms. You're learning noun categories, not abstract concepts.
And the end of the conversation then reinforces coordination and executive function in English.
Right. Before they leave, they check for the essentials. Car keys, house keys, wallet, and then that critical reminder.
Don't forget the reusable shopping bags.
Don't forget the bags. And this simple little story demonstrates the true essence of fluency. It's not just about reciting poetry or discussing philosophy. It's about negotiating complex, multi-step tasks.
Coordinating movements, anticipating needs, and solving problems.
All in English, using functional language like run out of, need to buy, and don't forget.
So the synthesis of all these elements, it really reinforces the final secret of success, doesn't it?
It does. It's about turning those small, mundane daily actions, saying good morning, writing a shopping list, watching 5 minutes of a travel video, or just thinking I need coffee, into functional English practice.
These tiny, low-friction actions accumulate over time.
They accumulate to build strong habits, and those strong habits inevitably create fluent, confident speakers. Fluency isn't some sudden epiphany. It's just the sum total of all these consistent, repeated, imperfect actions.
So we have journeyed through this deep dive, dismantling that huge psychological barrier of perfectionism and assembling a practical 7-point plan for daily engagement. We've covered the technical mastery of shadowing and the strategic need for consistent, low-stakes integration. The core finding, repeated in every single source, is that success really hinges on action, not on waiting for readiness.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner?
Well, learning English is an iterative journey. It's not a straight line.
Right.
Every small step you take, whether it's changing your phone settings or just whispering a simple thought to yourself in English, it brings you closer to your goals.
And when you successfully manage to integrate English into your daily rituals, your background listening, your internal monologue, your interaction with technology, it stops feeling like this burdensome homework assignment.
It just becomes part of your life.
It transforms into something you simply live with. And that transformation, from a subject you study to a functional life tool, that is when real, resilient fluency truly begins.
We've established that every tiny action counts, and that the modern learner has all the tools they could possibly need available to them right now. We've shown that low-friction integration, just leveraging habits you already perform religiously, is the key. So, for our final provocative thought for you to carry forward, consider the one thing you are absolutely guaranteed to do in the next 60 minutes, whether that's checking a notification, drafting a text message, making a list, or simply having a quiet internal thought. How can you take that one guaranteed action and, starting right now, instantly switch its language context to English? The simplest, most effective step is always the one you take immediately.